What's up, everybody? This is your host, Ben. On this show, we don't know what we're going to call it, but I am joined by Chris.
What's up?
And my buddy Thomas here.
What's everybody doing?
So, this is a new show and everything, and we're going to start it off by talking about what we have been playing this week. Anybody got any answers?
Yeah, I think I'll go in first. I've been playing some Dying Light. Yeah, running from some zombies in the dark.
Me and Chris, how much did we play that game whenever it first came out, dude?
I don't know. I played it when, even with me not being there, but me definitely did play the living shit out of it. I started playing it a lot with Ryan, and he just started giving me every single last god weapon he owns. I pretty much powered through it.
That's kind of what Chris has done with me.
Yeah,
he's given me a bunch of good blades.
Now.
Yeah. Dude, Ryan used to walk around with major weapons and stuff. It was ridiculous. And me and you got him hooked into the game.
Yeah, he actually wants to come join us sometime, so we got to do that sometime here.
Definitely.
I'm more maxed out than you are in that game. I actually have everything up except for my survivor rank. I have one more rank left.
Yeah. Well, for me, I need a few more. Survival rank is something that I actually know a little cheese to do, so I can just fucking power through that and I'll be golden. Yeah.
Now, Tom's over here, the newbie in the game. How have you been feeling about it, dude? Because I loved it whenever it first came out. It feels like a true next-gen game to me.
I mean, I absolutely agree with that. I mean, it's definitely when you come into a horde, you really feel like you've got some competition. And I mean, it's not like on old games where when you're in the dark, you really feel like you're in the dark even when you have a flashlight on. When the flashlight's on in this game, you feel like you're, running in the dark and it's shaking and it's great. I mean, it's a great experience. You just
dude,
whenever
you turn off that light, it is ridiculously dark.
Yeah.
It's nuts. I've turned the brightness all the way up and I still can't see.
Oh, why ruin the experience?
No, I was just curious. I was like, shit, am I going to ever be able to see anything around me other than this bright white beam shining out and all that?
Yeah, it's definitely a good game. It's something I enjoy playing. I mean, it breaks up the monotony of the first-person shooters I've been picking up.
One thing I do have to say, though, is that the controls take a while to get used to.
Even though that you say that, I still feel like they kind of walk you through the process in baby steps. It's not like Dead Island where they just throw you to the wolves and we're like, hey, guess what? I mean, they kind of baby step you through it and give you, the ability to learn.
And I highly recommend this game to anybody who has an Xbox One, PS4, or a PC that can run it. I do recommend it. What about either one of you guys?
I do, definitely. That game is absolutely crazy, and apparently on PC, though, it's even better. So.
I'm excited to see
I can only imagine. Yeah, absolutely.
Tom, how do you feel about it? Do you recommend it for next-gen owners and all that, since you just bought your Xbox again?
I definitely do. It's worth picking up, and for those of you who are afraid that it may be too intense, it doesn't punish death very harshly. I mean, it does, but then it doesn't at the same time. So it's really easy for anybody to pick up and play. So yeah, I recommend it.
All right, well, Chris, what have you been playing this week, man?
Rust. Well, let me shit out of this game. By the way, the game that you'll see within the background is Rust. I'm currently playing it right now while we record, but this game is an open world survival. It's just basically surviving the wilderness, surviving other people, and surviving just nature at its finest. That's pretty much it. And it's all about crafting, building up stuff, and again, just fighting off other people, raiding people's places. Like, you can make C4 and stuff and blow people's walls open and steal all their shit. Yeah.
I think Tom and I are going to have a couple questions here. I do have a first major question, but Tom, do you have anything to say before I do?
In particular, when it comes to Rust, I mean, is it anything what's Survive Alone? Isn't that the one where you're on the island?
I mean,
is it
might
anything?
be Stranded Deep.
Stranded Deep, that's the one. Yeah, is it anything like that? I mean,
pretty much any survival game that's on PC right now is going to be like that. But Stranded Deep you're kind of restricted because I mean, there's different islands and stuff, but that's really it. You can't go crazy buildings. Rust has been around, I think, for well over a year now. It's still early alpha, so people that see it glitching out and stuff like that, that's just because it's early alpha. But it's came a long way. But it's all about again, Stranded Deep. You can make a little hut. and you could like maybe make. Yeah, I don't think you can even have a storage box in it yet. But they're constantly adding in. Like all these games are early access, so again they're still being made. So it's just Rust is different, but at the same time it's not. So that's kinda hard to explain.
That game definitely looks really good to me, but like my biggest question with these survival games and something that I've always wanted in them is like surviving disease and like sickness and stuff like that.
No
Have they
sickness in
added?
this.
They have. All
No
right.
sickness, yeah.
Yeah.
And if you can get food poisoning within the game if you eat raw meat.
That's ridiculous. Are there like antibiotics and like medical treatments that you have to go out and create or whatever?
There's med kits that you can create, and that will within the med kit there's like antibiotics and stuff that will help you with whatever you're kind of like sick with. It's kind of like the all around cure. If you're bleeding, you're good. If you're, sick, if you're vomiting, like you guy will vomit in this game, and if you guy gets too cold, he'll start getting hypothermic and start dying.
Wow.
And shit, yeah, it's hardcore.
I was gonna
I
say
love
that's
this game though.
that's definitely not a Minecraft survival. That's
No,
it's-
it's a bit more hardcore than that. I mean,
Yeah.
I love how it looks too. Whenever the game first started out, it kind of looked like garbage.
Oh, yeah.
Not gonna lie, like the first couple times I saw it, but this newest update, and I remember seeing a video by Jack Frags, and that's what got me interested in it.
Yeah,
And-
it's a crazy game. The survival aspect of it's even more. It's like so far I've already got attacked by like 2 or 3 bears and a wolf. So
Well, I guess that's it for Rust. Remember, this episode, there will be footage of Rust in the background. We don't know if we're going to be sticking with that, but this episode of whatever we're calling this will be brought to you by Naked Men. Anyways.
if you don't know what it means, I'll go ahead and show you guys right now.
No. Have the censor bar on there at
No,
least.
it is. The sensor is definitely there.
Okay.
Oh
I'll be
god.
naked
don't
with
need a
poncho
dick.
and boots and gloves, rubber gloves, hazmat.
We don't need to see no, like, giant floppy wieners.
No.
You know?
You can turn off censorship, but no, we're not gonna do that. Over there is my buddy Smoke Sniper. Shout out to him. Just sleeping sideways on his. He's not even sleeping on his bed, man. What the fuck?
Brian out there. Well, anyways, enough about what you're playing right now. The game that I've been playing, and it's kind of old news, and some people are gonna like groan whenever I say it and all that, but I got sucked back into Destiny recently. I fucking hated the game for the past like 2 months, and Chris knows this. I've like complained about the game for the past like two or 3 months because I was so disappointed in it until like recently. I started getting back into it because the bounties and all that kind of drew me back in. It's almost like a routine that I go through every night now, where I go in and I earn my XP and all that, and there's something oddly rewarding about it. And I know the game doesn't really have a story or anything, but the moment-to-moment gameplay, at least for me, is sucking me back in, along with the reward system.
It's not getting monotonous or repetitive for you to have to go and do all those bounties and things every day?
After taking a break for 2 months, other than doing like the occasional raid and all that, not really. It's almost like waking up in the morning and like brushing your teeth or something. It's like, I did something today. I'm progressing towards something. It's that game that lets you, feel like you have, as I'll say again, a routine.
I don't know. I don't
And
feel
let me go ahead and warn
fulfilled
everybody.
When I say when I brush my teeth.
Let me go ahead and warn everybody. I have a deep hatred for Destiny. Even though I own the game, I have played it, and I do still enjoy the gameplay. I just, there's something about that repetitive, like drawing in Candy Crush style, keep coming back to this shit again and again and again that I despise.
See, I'm an old WoW player, and
The
I
same here,
miss,
but that's
I miss
partially where
my
my
days.
hatred comes from.
I miss my
Oh
days.
God.
I was one of those players, man. I could grind out like levels and days upon days. Now Chris over there is like the Destiny master, so
Oh yeah, my whole fucking channel's old Destiny. So
I mean, Jesus. You put out so many loot caves, it's ridiculous.
every day, man.
Destiny rape.
I mean,
Just tearing out the game.
Shout out to the Loot Cave tomorrow, man. That one's fucking nuts, to be honest.
Plug.
oh yeah. Definitely go check him out at
Gotta plug it.
Shameless
youtube.com/stubbornbucket, or if
self-plug.
you type Stubborn Bucket in the search bar, he's the first channel that comes up.
Yeah.
It's a really good channel. I highly recommend it. And you'll probably see a lot of us mixed in throughout his videos, I would hope, if he wants to work with us.
All of you guys are in the videos.
I know.
And obviously, we're doing something together.
Yeah, well.
Fuck.
Fuck you guys. I'm just gonna go back and do my bounties.
Of course, addicted.
All day.
Red Death is king. So, on to topics, since that's kind of what our the general gist of the show will be, is like topic oriented and all that, but it will be shooting the shit a bit. Crunky, you kind of had some interesting, thoughts bringing up the other day to me.
I've got some current events going out here, some fairly new stuff. We're talking April the 18th this was posted, so it's still fairly new. Borderlands creator, Matthew Armstrong, he was also the franchise director, he's left his position at Gearbox. He was quoted as saying he is an inventor and is ready for a new adventure. He said after the pre-sequel and the Handsome Collection and DLC, he kind of found himself temporarily non-vital, and he decided to leave. So I'm wondering what this means for Borderlands and the future of Gearbox, because,
well,
he was an integral part of the company.
I don't know. I don't know if you guys ever watch any of, the big PAX panels or any of the big, just any of the panels from any of the cons and anything.
No, not really.
No,
it's not for me.
Well, Gearbox recently, I can't remember which one, I think it was PAX East maybe, they had a big Borderlands panel where they talked about the creation of Borderlands 1, Borderlands 2, the pre-sequel, all that stuff. And then they talked about what's going on with Borderlands 3. They're kind of building their team from scratch again. So a lot of these old people that, worked on the first two games and the pre-sequel and all that, they're not really returning. At least not in the same sense. They're adding a lot more developers to it because I think they're only doing next-gen platforms. Which we'll tie into another topic later.
This was one of his personal decisions. I mean, that's why I brought this up. He said that he wanted to be an inventor and create something that could help people. So, I mean, it's not like, he was pushed out or they were like, oh, out with the old and in with the new. I mean, and even so, I still think that's a risky move for Gearbox because we're talking about the games that really, push this company into the limelight in these new consoles.
Where's my fucking sequel to Hell's Highway? Anyways. I don't know, Chris, do you have any thoughts on any of this? Because, I mean, I know you really don't pay attention to, developers leaving.
To be honest, that's something that's not really my forte. That might kind of feel something I don't really ever pay attention to. But in my opinion, it's I can kind of reference that to, Halo. When they started to make Halo 3, even though, majority of them got fired. Then during the Halo 2 team, some other ones just quit. They wanted to venture off and do their own thing. For instance, now we have 343 because of it. So, in my opinion, I think it's kind of good. It's something that's new, and the reason why he's doing it is something that, I don't think it's selfish or anything. I think he wants to do it because he wants to help people and stuff like that. And I completely doubt Gearbox has pushed him out. I think he was just on his own adventure. He wanted to do something different because people get sick of what they do. They want to change and do something after they've done it for so long. So I think it's a great thing for him.
I mean, he's not the only Borderlands person that has left. I can't remember the name of him, but the lead writer of Borderlands 2, he left also recently. He left to go and I think write a show or something for NBC or something like that.
You know what show it is?
I don't know. I think it's something that's still in development and all that.
Oh, okay.
But, I mean, he left on good terms, too. He left on really good terms. In fact, one of his tweets, I can't quote it exact, but he said, hey, who knows, maybe in 6 months I'll be dragging my sorry ass back to Gearbox. But, I mean, I don't really fear for the series because Gearbox usually has a really good understanding of, what makes their games Gearbox games. So they know how to hire the right people. I mean, the Borderlands 1 writing was funny, but they realized that's part of what made that charm of the game, so they hired, the lead writer of Borderlands 2. I wish I could remember his name, but he writes a YouTube show and all that called Hey Ash, What You Playing or something. Yeah,
Yeah.
something like that. In fact, I think his sister does the voice of Tiny Tina. But
Wow.
I don't know. I think that series has its own legs, and I think it can stand without those people. And I am happy that they are moving on, that they're going off to pursue other passion projects.
Yeah.
And see, that's in my closing point on this. I really feel like, when it comes down to it, I think you're both right. It's good for these guys to go out and say, hey, this is not me anymore, and I have to move forward into something that is me. And I mean, as doubtful and scared as I am for the series and the company as a whole, I think you guys are right. I mean, they built something that by itself can support the company and the people, but sometimes that's not always true. We've seen other games in the past that were sequels and then they flopped. And I mean, Gears of War.
Well, Epic's still around. Epic's still
Yeah.
making a lot of
Yeah.
stuff. And
But I
Gears,
mean-
there's a next-gen Gears coming, actually. It's being
I
made
haven't
by
heard-
Black Tusk. They haven't shown anything, but Black Tusk is now basically... You know how 343 became like Bungie's surrogate, basically?
Yeah.
Like Microsoft made 343 to take the mantle of Halo and keep producing it. Well, Black Tusk is another studio, bless you.
Thank you.
Black Tusk is another studio where Microsoft took them on, and they were working with experimental games and all that, and then Microsoft bought the Gears of War license. I think they bought the whole license, and now Black Tusk is making the next-gen only Gears of War, which I hope they show
That's
it.
rumor though, right? That's what's
No,
rumor.
they've said Black Tusk is our Gears of War studio.
Yeah, because I remember hearing something about Black Tusk being what they're going to do, but I didn't actually know if that was like actually like confirmed by anybody.
They haven't talked about what it is, though. They haven't talked about who the main characters are. They haven't talked about the story.
Definitely not gonna be what's his face anymore.
Marcus or anything.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe.
I think it needs to venture off. Somebody new. Carbine. Him dying every one.
What, Ben Carmine, the
Just
grub
all
kill?
of them dying.
that
Yeah.
Like
shit.
at the end of at the end of each little level, you die, and then you become a new Carbine. That would be awesome. No joke.
Yeah. But I mean, there is a lot of the industry right now. There's a lot of people leaving studios and going to other studios. The Uncharted developers, Naughty Dog, and all them. They lost a bunch of people.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, their lead writer for Uncharted, I think she left and she either joined EA or 343.
My
Actually,
question though is how many Uncharted are there?
3.
Okay.
I mean,
There were many
those
ones
games
still,
are
I
excellent.
thought.
Those games are excellent.
Yeah, I thought there were some mini ones on Vita or something like that.
There's a 4th one on Vita. Yeah, Golden Abyss.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, back to Gearbox though. I do agree with you, Crunky, that I can be a little bit wary, only because those people were essential, but there's still people like Randy
Yeah.
there, and there's
Randy
a lot of the
Pitchford's
original
the
team.
biggest one in my opinion.
Yeah.
If he goes
I mean,
away,
he's the
that's
one
when
who
I'm worried.
approved the art style.
Yeah.
He literally, the story goes, I can't remember exactly, but he was at the office, and he found out that I think 1 or 2 guys were working on a secret project somewhere and all that. And he literally had to decide a year out from launching the game on whether to approve the super realistic design that they had first. Because the game looked super realistic for the first year, all the screenshots and stuff that they showed. He had to approve a year out from launch on whether they were going to change the art style or not, because nobody thought the game felt right. And he approved it, and within a year, they converted the whole entire game while still developing it and put a new art style on it that now is synonymous with that brand.
Yeah.
So I think they're in good hands.
Oh yeah. But I'm saying if he leaves though, that's when I'm gonna kind of be worried. When the big name of that game
Yeah.
leaves. 'Cause
I mean, they're-
whenever I think of Borderlands, I think of Randy Pitchford or
Oh,
whatever the hell he says his name.
Him and
Well, I mean,
He
let's
does-
not
he
let's
does
not
voice
let's
it.
not count Armstrong out here. I mean, it's not like he was just some little pawn. who
no,
just
no,
colored one little piece.
he was a
I mean,
big
Yeah.
piece of it. I think he helped design the algorithm and stuff for the game and all that.
Well,
how
I mean, he was
guns.
the creator and franchise director. I mean, he was a
there's
creator.
more than one.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say a creator. Let me correct myself.
I don't
Don't
know.
hate me, trolls. Don't hate.
Yeah. Tell Crunky to go fuck himself.
Please do. And tell me where to put it. After
Yeah,
this.
we call Tom Crunky sometimes.
Yeah.
But
Put it
do you
in the
do you
window.
have any other like news things that you wanted to talk about, Tom, at all?
Let's move on to the next subject, and if we get some time, we'll come back. I've got a second subject. Let's go on to Chris here.
Oh no, I was gonna say Ben. Go ahead.
Yeah, his is the last thing. I was gonna say let's go with your other topic, Crunky, because mine's gonna be kind of long.
All right, let's do this. There is a large number of games now that are coming out that are just, like I say, next-gen exclusive. So you have these games like the new Battlefront that's coming out, and you've got Dying Light, and there's a few others that are coming out that are just next-gen exclusive. I mean, what does this mean for gaming? What can we expect to see? I mean, processing rates are obviously going to go up in games, and graphics are obviously going to increase. But I mean, what else from gameplay can we see?
I think the biggest leap forward that we're gonna have, and it's not exactly like a graphics thing as how people, think like how shiny that looks or how rounded
Yeah.
it looks. But I think the next big step, which you actually saw starting with GTA in last gen, and I think they pushed, the last gen systems to the max with GTA 5, is the amount of detail in the environments. Like while you're walking around, like they have like water that, rises up with the rain and all that stuff, and like how the air particles interact and all that. I think that's the next big leap, is just how these worlds kind of come together, how they have a more lifelike feel, like how they're more lived in and all that. Like if you look at Destiny on next gen versus last gen, none of the particle effects are there. None of the lighting effects, none of the dust particles, none of that stuff.
I was
The
gonna
grass
say
doesn't
something about
do it.
that. Yeah, like somebody that I talked to, I never owned it on last gen Destiny, but a guy that I talk to all the time that's converted over, iRaspberry Kiwi, he told me that there was no bugs in the game. There's a lot of small details within that game that was never in like in the last generation. And he says that it just like it puts you into that environment even more. It's so much cooler, like it immerses you even more. And just kind of like what you said with even with GTA has a massive like difference. People don't realize that, but population, traffic, small little again like what you were saying, like small little details are added into this game, and over and over and over, and you just that's what I kind of like expect to see. I mean, I still expect to see better graphics, texture quality, shadowing, stuff like that. Shadowing's a huge thing that's going to just destroy processing. But that's something that I'm expecting to see even better of. But especially like just little teeny details, like Destiny, like when you walk, you have footprints in the sand and in
you
the
leave
snow too,
tracks.
or not the snow, but into the moon surface. That's something that is like little detail, but a lot of games don't have that. And I believe even last gen doesn't even have the footprints.
No, I don't think it does. I mean, what do you think, Crunky or Tom?
Well, I mean, as far as like, I both agree with both of you. The experience is slowly becoming more immersive. We're slowly getting to the point where it's not a painted-on texture that you're looking into a shop. They've actually took the time to detail and back up and put a backdrop into the shop where you can actually see into the shop, or the dust particles, or light striking, around corners and things like that. We're definitely going to see that. But what I'm looking forward to, with all of this processing power that we're being, given with this console and the size and just sheer performance of it and everything that is next gen, I'm expecting to see some differences in multiplayer. And like even with the Xbox One, they have very clearly made it where they've said we're really focusing towards multiplayer. I mean, they do have their single player games, but a majority of it is multiplayer. And I expect that we'll see some definite improvements, like faster speeds in games and things like that. I mean, outside of network, graphics increase. Yeah. Titanfall's a perfect example.
Even though that's not the last generation, but
It's so
that is
slow.
gameplay.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it very much so is. And I mean, it doesn't perform the same on last gen console as it does though.
No, it
on
doesn't
next
feel
gen.
as smooth.
Not even close. Yeah, I mean, the same thing with when you have games like Assassin's Creed Black Flag or Unity. I mean, Black Flag was a previous last gen console, and now it's worked its way back over to the next gen. And I mean, if you stand the two next to each other, they look like two totally separate games. Gameplay plays the same for the most part, unless you get into online gameplay, where the little details matter in Assassin's Creed, being able to tell when somebody's moving or sneaking.
Now, if it was
So-
a next-gen only game, though, just think about how much more they could have
Yeah.
pushed it. Like how
Yeah.
Battlefront. No
That's
one
my
can
point.
deny that in-game footage, even though it is, puppeteered in-game footage and all that, just the amount of work and stuff, how much those textures look crisp and clean, and the character models look so good. It literally looks like they
The
took
movie.
it looks like the movie. And I mean, they photographed models. Like, they went to the Lucasfilms, they went to their vault and all that. They scanned all the models, all the miniatures that they used, all that stuff. And that's what you see in the game is what they used back in those movies. And this is what this new technology, lets you do if you leave behind the old gen consoles. Like, Battlefront looks stupid. It just looks ridiculously good. Just stupid good. Like, it melt your brain.
Yeah, definitely.
And-
definitely agree.
Yeah, and I mean, again, that was in-engine footage, which doesn't mean it's exactly gameplay, but a lot of
Yeah.
reports coming out from the Star Wars event of people who saw PS4 footage. Like, PS4 was sat down with Battlefront loaded on it, and, they got to watch, gameplay from a multiplayer match. They said it looked almost exact, a little bit more jagged, maybe, but almost exactly like the footage.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's beautiful footage, and I recommend to anyone that is listening to us now and is like, what the hell, there's a new Star Wars Battlefront. If you're that dumb and living under a rock, I do suggest that you go to YouTube right now and go and look it up, because it is one of the most amazing pieces of gameplay footage. If it is, I mean, I know it's not gameplay footage, but, it is the most amazing trailer I've seen in a long time, and it was such an awesome game on PlayStation 2 and all of the older consoles. It was great.
Oh my god, it was ridiculous.
I mean, I was addicted. Addicted.
Now,
But yeah, that's my thing on next gen to new gen, old gen, next gen.
I mean, the more games that go next gen only, as a closing thought, at least my closing thought, the more games that go next gen only, we're gonna benefit from it. As gamers, we're gonna benefit from a better, more refined experience.
Yes,
It's
I
going
agree.
to play smoother, it's going to look smoother. And I don't care if they increase player size. In fact, Battlefront, they're actually decreasing player size from like DICE's other games like Battlefield and all that. It's actually
Which is
only
totally
40
cool.
players. But
That's still
they're designing the maps around it. So
yeah.
it's going to play well.
Yeah, actually, like Titanfall, whenever you played that game, there was a very small amount of people. Sorry, freaking phone. It's like large mass, but small amount of people. What was it, like 6v6 or something like that?
16 players, AVA, I think.
Was it? I don't think it was that was 12.
It might. No, it is 12. It is 12.
Yeah, 6v6. And in my opinion, when you have all Titans on the ground, it definitely feels like that is a perfect size. But when it's just that small amount of people, like 6 versus 6, and there's no Titans, that's something that's definitely I don't like that at all. Like, I feel like there needs to be more, because like
Yeah.
they added in the bots. It just doesn't feel right. They're not a challenge. If they actually
I
took
thought
like
it felt good.
player, like not player made, but like like player skills, like they kind of adapt to the players and like kind of like copy them, that would be amazing.
Like
But
a Ghost in a
whole-
racing game?
Next gen. That's kind of like me put my input. That's next gen, and that's something I think that they will do with
Mhm.
Titanfall
What
2.
more adaptive AI?
Yeah,
Is that what you're
Titanfall
trying-
2.
yeah,
I really
yeah.
think that's how that's going to be. That's going to be the big thing about it.
That's another thing with this
That's
processing
brilliant, by the way.
power of these next-gen consoles is because we're leaving behind old-gen, is that there can finally be another leap in AI. Smarter and more challenging AI. Jesus,
Yeah, yes.
unprofessional much.
Thank you, sir.
But, I guess we'll move on to the next topic, guys.
That's you.
Yeah, I was seeing if you guys were done. Well,
No, I'm in
okay.
total disagreement.
All right. Nobody's saying nothing. Nobody's saying nothing.
We're waiting
All right.
on you, sir.
We're going to talk about the HoloLens next, which I think is an amazing piece of hardware. I mean, everybody's excited about VR and all that, like virtual reality. I'm more excited about AR, which is augmented reality, which is what the HoloLens is, where it's more of an overlay on actual, like, life. Like, instead of, putting a screen over your eyes and you can't see anything going on around you, the HoloLens lets you have a transparent overlay that lets you, like, play games on the wall or something like that, or, look up information, scroll down, but you can still see around you. You can 3D model, all that stuff. I think the technology looks excellent. Phil Spencer said that there's potential for it to be used on the Xbox One, or if they ever make another Xbox, which I think that they will, Microsoft will probably incorporate some kind of HoloLens technology. And I really do think that this is an incredible leap in technology, and how responsive every report that I've read about it is. Everybody says that it's almost lag-free, that there's no delay or anything whenever you're interacting with objects, which you would expect there to be delay. At least in like a first-generation product, you would expect it not to be that smooth. You guys' thoughts?
Well, I mean, lest we not forget that it already has, shown some potential for gaming. I mean, with Minecraft being, one of the premier things that they've shown as far as gaming. And I mean, what they've shown is beautiful, and it definitely changes the way that we'll think about gaming in and of itself. With this, what we're used to in 2D, and now adding the 3D aspect to it. I think that this is going to be one of the better selling products out of what we see as far as VR headsets. Because, no offense to Facebook and their decision to buy that product, I'm not even going to go there and touch it. Yeah, I'm not even going to go there and touch it. Because I honestly don't think they have the support as far as gaming to support the 3D necessary. Now, I know that there are a lot of independent developers and people who are, going out now and buying the product so that they can develop their own games and things like that. And I believe it's also, it's Steam compatible, is it not?
The Oculus is, and of course Microsoft will make it Steam compatible, their AR headset, which is, their augmented reality.
Well, I mean, and Steam does give them a market, man, but I still see the HoloLens overtaking simply because people are comfortable with the household name that is Microsoft.
Well, it's not just that, but you can see around you. You're not going to be wearing your HoloLens and have fear of, like, tripping over something.
And I'll also say that it does look
like
considerably less. I think it looks considerably less hideous than some of the other apparatus that we're expected to wear.
Considerably, but it's still hideous.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I mean, I'm not denying that fact.
If you ever seen the Oculus, that thing is just ridiculous. Like, if you ever watch, like, people that haven't seen it, go watch one of PewDiePie's videos with it.
Looks like you're wearing a brick.
It's huge on it. And there's a lot of videos of people playing like Battlefield and stuff. And they got the whole like setup like underneath you if you running, and doing all that. It's neat, but it's just they need to, instead of keep adding like accessories to it, they need to work on the size of it and stuff. And that's my opinion. But HoloLens though, oh my god, it's just like of course what they showed at their little conference or whatever, it is not going to be exactly like that. That was something that they visually made to show.
They have a live demo where they actually put an Oculus, not an Oculus, Jesus, a HoloLens on a camera and allow you to see essentially the same thing that the other wearer was seeing.
I mean, it's
worth looking up.
It looks good. Don't get me wrong. But my biggest thing is also, where can the HoloLens like take us? Because it's just the first step in other technologies. Like the HoloLens could lead us up to in-window displays in your car and stuff. Well, they can bring up displays on your windows, tell you the weather whenever you wake up. You look at your window and it says like 67 degrees or whatever on the side or something, or it's transparent. And you can move stuff around. I mean, it's Minority Report.
No, I mean that stuff already exists. I mean, not to sound like the car buff that I am, but Pontiac has made, since the days of KITT being famous, back, those who just dated myself as a Knight Rider fan. In the days of Kit, Pontiac was still taking those ideas and introducing them. I
Mhm.
mean, I've owned a car that had a heads-up display that only displayed itself at night, worked on a timer. You can move it up and down, change it to speed, temperature, what was going outside. Now, it was a very basic LED, and I do say that, yeah, with what's coming out, we're going to see some huge improvements in heads-up displays and like highlighting the side of the road and things like that. But I mean, it's also gonna. You also have to think it's gonna help people at jobs and people who are handicapped
Surgery,
and
stuff like that,
yeah,
medical
yeah.
field.
Yeah, we're gonna see some, definite improvements there because somebody will be able to be like, "Hey, I'm an amateur surgeon, but I still have experience," and then an experienced surgeon can watch through the HoloLens and work on
Stuff,
somebody.
yeah, stuff like that. They can guide them through with like
Yeah.
diagrams, stuff like that. They can send them heads-up displays and all that. And the cool thing is that Microsoft is starting with this as like an entertainment device with practical applications. That's how you get that technology in people's hands, is that you make it something that people want. You make it something that people want to use, they use it, and then they develop more technologies like it or to use it in different ways. What were you going to say, Chris? I didn't mean to cut you
That's
off.
marketing.
Yeah.
That's 101 pretty much.
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
Well, that's a smart way. That speeds up the adoption of the technology.
I think the Minecraft thing is something that they showed. I don't think that's going to be day one when it comes out. It's going to be something that's going to be throughout time that they're going to work on. And I hope to God it's not one of that bullshit Lionsgate crap where you talk to the virtual reality world that they made, where you go up, talk to that kid, and he remember. He remembers,
Milo.
yeah, he remembers everything and all that shit. I hope that's not going to be some bullshit where it's like that, where they say, you're gonna have this, and this is gonna drop when this console comes out, or when this product comes out. Like,
Peter Molyneux. He's a piece of shit. Yeah, Peter Molyneux is a piece of shit.
and I know when Microsoft, as in this huge corporation, like one of the biggest corporations ever out there, and when they say something, it's usually done. I don't know if there's ever been something that they've said they're gonna do and not do it. I don't know. But,
Yeah.
Showing Minecraft and showing how they did it, that is something that is.
And people
I don't
played a
think it's
demo
gonna be
of it.
like that, but we'll see.
People played a demo of it though, and they said it was exactly like the video.
Yeah, but there's a demo from Milo too.
Yeah, but it wasn't playable.
I thought it was.
You couldn't. No, there was no demo for Milo, as far as I know. There was no demo whatsoever.
Oh, okay.
It was just a video representation. While this, like the trade show that they showed it at, I think it was CES last year, like they let people put the headset on. And they let people try it out, and they tried out Minecraft and other things like business applications, stuff like that, like reading your email, all that. And they said it worked just like in the trailer.
Well, that's good. That's actually amazing. As long as it keeps doing that, that's all I care about. Because I know there's been, it's not just Milo, there's been multiple, like PlayStation had a demo for the PS people. They had a demo of a game that they said they were going to drop. Well, it wasn't a game, it was like the social hub. And it was actually like you create a character within this hub of PlayStation. You can.
I think they actually did drop that.
I don't think they did. I played the demo on it, and it was only for like certain exclusive people. It was like a closed demo, and they never launched it on PlayStation 3. It was never launched.
Yeah. I don't know much about that. I kind of skipped to the PlayStation 3 generation.
If they had that on an Xbox, I'd be on that shit every day. Because you could create, like, you buy a house with credits that you get. And
I know,
can-
you're a big Sims player.
Dude, all day. Actually, that's my girl, man. I'm just about building. That's all I care about. Decoration.
Let's play a
shit.
game about life.
Yeah.
It was because you wanted to, like, design houses and stuff at one point, huh?
Well, I did, I took an architecture class, did engineering, drawing, design, and all that.
Well.
Certified to do all that, but I just don't.
I've known you for 9 years and I've never known this. Is this seriously architecture?
Yeah.
Yeah,
my
Chris
God.
is pretty good at it. That's why he's good at building buildings in Minecraft.
Yeah.
I'll agree. This makes sense now.
But, like, for instance, like, I am really curious to see where this is going to bring. Because the reason why, like, if you actually think about it honestly, as of when we were kids, and you think of the video games we played back then. Or, here's a better example. Grand Theft Auto 3. Like, when I think about it, I didn't think about it of it being, like, super blocky or anything. But I saw a screenshot of Grand Theft Auto 3 and then GTA 5. Like, holy fuck. That is such a difference.
That's less than
Yeah.
20 years too.
I
Think
know.
about it.
Yeah.
And it's going to do is get bigger and bigger and bigger, and we're going to be getting better graphics earlier, like, you know, less time. And the reason why is because technology, especially, like, you know, everybody, like, now gaming is so big, everybody owns a console in the house. I can guarantee you can go to anybody's house, they'll
Yeah.
have one. And
Oh,
besides
yeah.
grandparents or something, you know, that's something.
But I
that'll be
mean,
different.
Even then,
lest we not forget that there wasn't that long ago that people said consoles will never be a big thing.
And
I
Mhm.
mean,
bitches.
look
people-
at it now.
people are also
We
saying consoles are
exploded.
dying, but I think consoles are just becoming more PC-like.
Yeah,
That's the big thing.
they have to find the gray area where they fit.
Well, if
Mhm.
you think about it,
That's
PC is like the next big thing. Eventually, consoles are going to get to the point where they're not going to keep upgrading their consoles. What they're going to, you know, make new consoles, but they're going to make a solid one console and put out accessories. For you to
We're just
take and
making a
work.
service like on, you know, instead of just having Steam, you can go to the PlayStation Store or you can go to the Microsoft Store on your thing and you can play it through there and use Xbox Live services or whatever, you know, use all their different stuff, and it's just going to be different services on different machines,
Right.
you know, or on the same machine. You know, you pay a fee
Yeah.
or whatever and you get their service. I'll probably still stick with Microsoft mainly only because their customer support. I love their customer support.
You're the only one.
I love it because they're all English.
What?
I can understand them.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You're definitely the only one that gets all English.
Yeah.
I get all
All
fucking
seriously.
Indian people that fucking can't understand.
All I ever
Shit.
get is hello, my name is Chuck. Your name is not Chuck. Be honest with me, please.
Every time I call, I either get someone from Washington State or I get someone from the UK, and they talk like it.
Listen,
But,
I mean, I don't have anything against Indian people in call service stations. Let me just say this first of all. But just don't call yourself Chuck. I know your name's not Chuck.
If your name is Chuck, I applaud you being in that country because you're the one that's getting made fun of.
Yeah, seriously. Seriously.
All right. Well, do you guys have any closing comments about the Hololens or
I'm
you know,
buying it. That's mine.
technology?
That's mine. I'm buying it no matter what because it's something
Yeah,
that,
seriously.
that just like the very early on thing that they showed was something that I really want to see. I hope I can be able to record it and put it on my channel, but I doubt it.
Well, I mean,
Maybe. You never know. I'm definitely gonna buy it. I'm definitely gonna talk about like the specs and stuff like that.
Well, I mean, I'm definitely going to pick up the HoloLens. I mean, it is a little bit of an expensive purchase, but I'm going to make it even worse by going out and buying myself a 3D printer at the same time. Because they're supposed to, you know, work together really well. So,
Oh,
see
yeah.
what happens.
Yeah, they talked about how it can be used for like 3D modeling and like creating stuff for like a 3D printer and all that.
Well, I fancy myself an amateur inventor, so it'll give me something to do.
Yeah, yeah. Well, do you guys any other stuff before we move on to Chris's topic? Because his is going to be a doozy. We're probably going to argue a little.
Yeah, probably.
Let's go ahead and get this started then, ladies.
Okay, my topic is basically about, if you think about from the very beginning of gaming, I'm not going to go all the way to like Pong age, but I'm going to go to like Mario. That was side-scroller. everything like
Nintendo,
that.
don't copyright us, please.
Yeah, well, we're not.
Thank you.
Whatever. But, you know, my big thing is like, you know, coming from that game and that era, that was like the big type of games during that time with side scrollers, you know, kind of like defeating the boss, saving the
Beat 'em
princess,
ups,
and-
stuff like that.
yeah. And now it's the generation of FPS. If you go to any fucking like 12-year-old's house, they got Call of Duty. And they
Yeah.
have, like, you know, like there's
If you get into any match online, there's a
Yeah.
12-year-old in it.
there's some little kid saying that he's gonna rape you or some shit or something like that.
And his dad
This
works
day
at
and age.
Xbox
Yeah, yeah, right, that's the biggest one.
as a janitor.
Yep, yep.
Oh my god.
There you go.
You remember when I used to tell
Amen.
people that?
I'm gonna remember that next time some kid says some shit. Actually, I say some fucked up shit when I talk to kids, but that's irrelevant. So basically, like, my big question is what is your guys' opinion? What's going to be the next big thing? Because now it's FPS, and FPS is something that could either stay forever or it could go away and become something else. Like, you know, and I really want to know what you guys like, what your opinion is, because I got two very strong opinions, but I'm only going to state one because I guarantee someone's going to go one. But go ahead, like Ben, go. Give me your opinion.
All right, well, this is a big thing, and this is actually going backwards. I think things are going to be like a cycle, like a lot of things are going to act like a cycle, because, I mean, platformers are kind of big right now, too.
Fashion is a big thing that cycles. Like
Yeah.
now, I think we're back into like, like, not 80s, but like some bullshit like that.
90s, a lot of 90s stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of plaid.
I mean,
type
Janko
things
jeans are
going
coming
on.
back.
Oh, I'm
Yeah, yeah.
glad.
Yo, I'll be buying some Janko jeans. But,
You think it's going to go back to like side scroller or like palm?
no. I think it's going to go back to RPGs. RPGs, like, straight up. And, I mean, that can include, like, you know, first-person shooter RPGs, like Borderlands and all that.
I feel like RPGs is a more of a newer thing.
No, RPGs is way back, way back.
When I think
Like,
of RPG, I think of like you leveling, you skill set, like your tree and shit.
I mean, I'm talking, like, you can go back to, like, Zork and stuff whenever there were text-based adventures. and
How
shit.
about, I was going to say, yeah,
Oh,
Rogue.
okay.
How
I
about
wasn't
shit
thinking
like
of like
that?
that. I'm thinking of like, you know, like MMO RPGs
Well,
and shit. That's what
I mean, I'm talking about, like, those kind of RPGs, too, but those RPGs have been around forever. I mean, you go back to the original Nintendo, Final Fantasy, and stuff like that. Those were huge.
Oh, that's true. I actually didn't think about.
Yeah,
Final
those are
Fantasy.
huge games. Stuff like
Wow.
that. JRPGs, you know, all the
Wow.
Japanese games. Freaking, I can't remember. There were a couple, like, NES, like, Western games and stuff, like, even, you know, RTSs, some of them, you know, like Warcraft and all that, they had RPG elements with their heroes and all that. But I really feel like it's going to go back to being, you know, RPG as the king, because during the PlayStation 1 era and N64 era, RPGs really were king, along with
Yeah.
puzzle platformers. But I do see it coming back, because everything is incorporating an RPG element into it. Even Call of Duty has RPG elements, in multiplayer at least. You're leveling up, you're incorporating.
You're
So,
leveling up to unlock, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, new powers and abilities, things like
And
that.
Elder Scrolls, I mean, Skyrim was ridiculously huge. It had no right to be that big. Even Oblivion sold well, don't get me wrong. It was no slouch, but Skyrim blew it out of the water in like games like Fallout and even hardcore experiences like Dark Souls. Dark Souls is a game that has no right to be popular, has no right to be, you know, this big success story because of how complex it is, how much you have to learn, how hard it is. But that's old school RPG sensibilities, and people are eating it up. It is ridiculous. I love Dark Souls, by the way, and like Bloodborne and all that. Like, people are eating these games up, and they are becoming bigger and bigger and bigger. Like Borderlands, it sells like fucking hotcakes. You know, it's an FPS, of course, but it has a lot of RPG elements. I mean, you have to study your passives, you have to learn all that. Your weapons have RPG elements.
Yeah, the skill
Destiny is
trees.
another big game. I really feel like it's taking over. And, I mean, there are other genres like survival and stuff that are eking in, and they're big and all that kind of stuff. But everything is incorporating at least some element of the RPG because it rewards the player. It makes the player feel good. It makes the player want to keep working at stuff.
So you think it's gonna be RPG, anything? Like, is it just like RPG in general? Or are you thinking like FPS RPG is gonna be the big things?
RPG in general, just like incorporating RPG elements. So it's going to be a more of a blend of game genres, but I think that's going to be the overarching theme between a majority of titles, is unlocking and upgrading and leveling up and all that stuff.
Gotcha.
Drunky? Tom?
I mean,
Something?
I absolutely have to agree with Ben on some aspects. Now, I don't necessarily think that RPG is going to be the next big thing again, especially considering it really hasn't left. It never really left. It's always been here, and it's always been a big deal in one form, fashion, or another. Now,
I
it
think
may have
just
been, you
other
know,
games are incorporating RPG
but
aspects.
the real genre that I see taking off, and it may not have really developed yet, as you know, getting in the sense of getting out of the indie world, But we're getting a lot of these puzzle platformers, these really simple games, especially since games like Braid came out on the Xbox 360. I mean, you've
So
got
good.
IFES and things like that that are coming out that are really starting to take over. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily lump all indie games into one genre separate to themselves because it's awesome how no game is exactly the same. I mean, in every single aspect, it definitely takes away from the monotony that is this FPS versus this FPS versus this RPG versus this RPG. I mean, I'm not a big fan of what's slowly becoming monotonous, and I think indie games are starting to take off, especially these uber difficult ones, like Ben mentioned, Dark Souls. That game it's so beautifully done. It punishes and rewards all at the same time,
No, it just
and I mean.
punishes.
It reward.
I mean,
I'm a hardcore player.
but Dark Souls, it goes before that. You've got Super Metroid. Super Metroid totally went into this idea of yes, you just died, and guess what? You're gonna have to go back by yourself with absolutely no help and figure out what the heck you did wrong. And I mean, that's rewarding to a guy like me. I enjoy playing that versus being taken by the hand in a game, like Halo. No offense to Halo fans out there, I know I'm about to get attacked, but I don't want to be walked through every little step as to how to fucking play and how to figure out how to get to the end. I mean, I like Volgar the Viking. It definitely falls in that category. Anybody who has played Volgar knows that it can be uber frustrating, but
That
when you
game is
find something new,
rage.
yeah, when you find something new in that game that helps you get ahead a little bit further, you are so happy, and I mean, you're just ready to, apply it again. So I've got to say, hardcore games are fixing to be the real new thing, and I
So
mean,
you're
they're
talking
not new; they're just coming back.
difficulty is coming back.
Yeah, the difficulty versus just basic
Hand-holding.
story content. Yeah,
Yeah, hand holding.
My big thing. I
yeah,
don't think
yeah.
that will.
Hand holding.
I don't think that actually will come back because I feel like these generations that are growing up, they like everything handed to them. Working
Really?
and honestly, I really do. I feel like that they like stuff that's just handed to them. That's the reason why Dark Souls isn't like the biggest RPG out there. It is a very large one because how difficult it is, and there's kids out there that like things challenging, but Call of Duty, for instance, the game's not challenging. I mean, you spray and pray and you kill somebody. That's just Call of Duty. But in my opinion, I just feel like, again, like kids just like every last thing handed to them. Like, honestly, like that's really what I feel like. Like Destiny, as much as I love Destiny, as much as that's what I cover like pretty much all over my channel. It's something that they just hand shit to you. If you can't level up to the max level in this one way by doing the hard mode raid, there's other ways to max out, just to kind of like help, they help the less difficult, the people they can't do it. And there's a lot of people that don't want to do the hard mode raid just because of how difficult it is, even though it's really not difficult. You just suck at the game, but the only way to get better is to actually play and get better. And people just don't, in my opinion, these younger generations, they just don't care about that. They just want to be able to play the game, shoot shit, and have fun. That's how kids are now. Call of Duty is still one of the biggest franchises, in my opinion.
I can't let you, lump the entire gaming community into this asshole of 12-year-old kids.
I didn't say all of them. I said majority of them.
But you have to think, though, we're all growing up. I mean, video game gamers are not just teenagers anymore. I mean, they're not just kids. We have grown up into a league of adults that are obsessive over Call of Duty or Titanfall or Assassin's Creed or whatever it is. Halo, most definitely.
My dad's 60 years old, and he still plays Halo on Legendary.
I mean,
So?
there's grown men who will fight over Halo. I mean, they'll be in the bar and, you don't talk about my Halos.
Well, that's just what I'm saying.
They'll
Like,
fight.
younger generations are like the reasons why. We have all these things that's just they hand you shit, and I just don't like that. I like games being difficult. That's the reason why, for instance, I like to play survival games. That's like my big thing. It's because it's so difficult to survive.
And,
That's why I like Alien.
I really have to say that's probably going to be one of the bigger genres that's coming out, especially since Minecraft has come out. Survival is going to start taking over in its way,
I feel like
too.
Minecraft is not dying or anything, but it's definitely lost its huge, explosive, entrance.
Well, I'll say the polish is most certainly.
But that happens with any game. Call of Duty.
Yeah.
You added in this EXO shit that is completely next generation. It's not. It's, it's not as big as the other games, and it should be. But
It's so
definitely
good.
not. So
Advanced Warfare, I'm not going to deny, was a good Call of Duty, and I haven't said that in years.
yeah, that's something
Um,
that's definitely it's very, very well made.
I mean, I kind of agree with Crunky, actually, because, I mean, a lot of games, difficulty is kind of coming back. A lot of the times it's optional, but I like
Yeah.
the fact that it's there. Like, I'm playing Diablo 3 right now,
Yeah.
and
yeah.
I have to say, Torment is nuts. It
That's what I'm
is
saying.
insanely stupid. As long as whenever you get up to like the last difficulty curve of like Torment and all that, it's nuts. And I love that kind of stuff. And I do agree with Chris. A lot of kids and stuff, like a lot of the people that are the main demographic, or at least the main demographic that like people think of, want their stuff handed to them. They don't want frustration in their games and all that. But they're gonna get older eventually. They're gonna get older, and then they're gonna want something that's rewarding, something that you feel good whenever you do it,
I agree.
instead of just this constant assault on your senses of, oh, I'm shooting all these dudes and they're not putting up a fight. I feel like the ultimate badass, instead of feeling like you have to
Actually
think.
accomplished.
Yeah,
and
you
I mean,
have to
I think
think
that's
about it.
I think that's why games like Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time and Super Mario 64, I mean, they still have not lost that luster that is, you know, the difficulty. Because I can even remember as a kid playing Super Mario 64 and trying to get all 120 stars and being totally mad at myself because I can only get, you know, 90 of them or whatever it was to open up the last door. Or Ocarina of Time and getting stuck on the freaking water temple because it's so friggin' confusing.
See, I'm the only one that has no issues with the water temple. I actually like
I can
that
go through
temple.
it now,
Actually, the
but as
Water
a
Temple's
child,
my favorite.
yeah, same here. But as a child, I used to throw remotes over that.
But I mean, if you want to talk about like a sign of the times and stuff, they just re-released Majora's Mask.
Well,
Yeah,
that's because you
yeah.
gotta realize that's
That was a
what we
difficult
grew up
game.
with. That's the reason why they are still like so successful. I
Yeah.
mean, don't get me wrong, younger generations are playing them, and especially like now, like as us as adults, you know, since we're growing up and we're having kids and stuff, people are, you know, we are buying Wii's, you know, Nintendo consoles and letting them play them. So I feel like the generations that are younger than us, they grew up to the FPS era. Then we're gonna have the generations that we are kind of raising. And I'm
Yeah,
not gonna say every single last one of our generation will be that. Don't get me wrong, I love FPS. That is by far one of my most favorite things to do is FPS and survivals and stuff. And I really think that that's, you know, I feel like that there's gonna be a huge rift in between both generations because you
Well-
have both. So, but that's not that's not my point.
Well, I
what's
mean,
your
I mean,
genre?
No, that's not my genre
Yeah.
yet. But
Well,
that's
what's
just
your
my
genre?
opinion on this. Well, no, I'm gonna let Crunky finish.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
I mean, and I can actually speak on that as a parent, you know, who now has a child who is able to pick up a controller and play a video game. You know, I know not every parent is going to do this. They're just going to sit them down with an Xbox 360 and be like, "Here you go." And I mean,
Don't
I'm
do
not going
that.
to do that to my children. I own a Wii U for the specific purpose so that my child can play classics like Mario and Super Metroid. And my daughter plays Super Mario Bros. The original now, and I mean, she's pretty ballin'. I mean, for
Luigi's
a 3-year-old,
Mansion.
heck yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
God.
Well, we can't get into games that complex yet. we're still in basic 2D platformer stage.
Dude,
She's
Luigi's
good,
Mansion.
It was so good.
Metroid Prime. If you want to talk about a game that's hardcore, and I know that's kind of recent, like, you know, the GameCube, Xbox, PS2 era is still kind of recent. But I can hear my goddamn dogs barking. But the Metroid Prime series, they were hardcore games that stood out at that time. And if you didn't have a guidebook, good luck finishing that game with a high percentage.
Guidebooks are dead now.
Yeah.
I know, but I loved guidebooks so much.
I don't know. For
I
as much
actually
as you
like
say guidebooks are dead, there's still a lot of games producing guidebooks, you know, that are
Oh, because
Nobody
they
buys
offer
them.
exclusive stuff within them to still try
Wow.
to sell them. That's the only reason why.
like I couldn't play Fallout or Skyrim without a guidebook and attempt to even
Oh, Skyrim
enjoy the
good.
game.
But not, I don't think Fallout. Fallout is something that's just so intense. Like,
Yeah.
you kind of have to because there's so much secret.
Fallout
Yes, yeah.
4?
Well, Skyrim, there's just as much stuff. I mean, you just, like I say, you have to have the guide to know.
Mm-hmm. Well,
That's why
I mean-
hate on the internet.
I agree with Crunky that that can actually be incorporated into the RPG genre too, because you know the hardcore elements.
I
and
also
stuff.
think that should be added, like, and this is kind of me veering off a little bit. I think that should be kind of like added into like every game. There should be a whole section that's dedicated to like a cheat sheet.
Oh yeah, you know, like an in-game walkthrough and all that.
Yeah, like an end game.
I don't know.
think that
It would ruin experiences like Dark Souls, though. It would ruin experiences like
For
Blood-
Dark Souls, I think you should beat the game, then you get it.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, you know, there should be like some like,
Just one
unlockable
time.
things.
You
Well,
should
for-
have to beat Dark Souls on New Game Plus.
Good lord.
But I don't know. I totally agree with you, Crunky, that I see a lot of that stuff coming back, and I mean I can see your points, Chris, that like, you know, a lot of these kids and stuff, they want stuff handed to them, but they're gonna grow up like us. You know?
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, but even so, I don't think their tastes are going to be the same because of the taste that they've developed now, if
That's
that
true.
makes any sense.
I mean, I talked to someone the other day and their first game console was the Xbox 360.
Oh,
As a
I
kid,
mean,
man, that makes me feel old.
Well, see, that's like my little sister. My little sister has a GameCube, and I mean, now she's started playing her Xbox One because you know I took the time to buy her one. But when she started playing, you know, she used to play, you know, real kiddie girl games that, you know, little Barbie princess games or whatever. But now she plays stuff like Skyrim and Titanfall and I mean Assassin's Creed.
Mhm.
So their taste, you're right in saying that, you know, their tastes are evolving in a sense that they will slowly grow and adapt and play some of the same things that we do. But I think, you know, it's going to be something totally unexpected that none of us here could possibly predict or see, to be truly honest.
Well, let's see.
I guess time will tell.
My
Mhm.
big thing is if you look at Destiny, as much people shit on Destiny that it's not fully complete yet, that game still is one of like the top selling games right now, and it's still selling. And it's an MMO, or not MMO, but it's a shared world RPG.
It's MMO light.
Yeah, yeah. And I think, you know, you're
And
right.
that is something that is definitely by far different and new. That's kind of like what Ben was saying, though. You know, that's kind of like where he feels like, you know, that's going to be the next big thing. And
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I agree.
I feel like, I don't know if, I feel like honestly, that is going to be the next big thing for a bit. But it's
MMO
gonna,
light.
yeah. But I feel like at the same time, past that, I feel like it's going to be open world like survivals with RPG elements and stuff. Because DayZ came in the picture and that blew up, and now it
Yeah.
exploded with all of these Steam games and all of these big games. And then Sony bought that one company to make H1Z1. And H1Z1 is
Yeah.
now a more complete version of
DayZ than even DayZ is.
And it's just, they're both so amazing. They are. In the zombie aspect, that's something I'm not talking about. Because it's not actually the zombies that you're afraid of. You're afraid of running into another player. Because that is the fear. You're going to run into another player, and I guarantee that motherfucker is going to have a group of people behind him.
So
Somewhere.
like indirect PvP you're talking about.
It's going to be all about multiplayer, survival against other players, and environment. I really feel like that's what it's going to go into eventually.
I'm not
Yeah.
gonna.
You know, I hate to say I changed my answer, but I do believe that Chris has pretty much nailed this on the head here. I mean,
Well,
the MMO thing has slowly started to progress its way to the console, and Destiny is only
It's a
the
shared
first step.
world.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's only the first step in a larger one.
well, what I was gonna say about these like survival games where you can have a server with a bunch of people and stuff. The one thing that I do really like about them is that they're a giant social experiment. That's what they are, because you can see people at their best and you can see people at their worst, and that's really
the cleanest and dirtiest too. Yeah.
yeah, that makes that genre really, really attractive, because I mean there are people out in those games that are true monsters.
Boy, you talking about DayZ?
Like DayZ and Rust and all that. There are people out there that are
Let me tell you, in DayZ, I can tell,
He's a
like, for anybody that's
monster.
watching, DayZ, you can handcuff somebody or zip tie them.
What?
And there's a video
Like
out
another
there.
player?
Yeah. So there's a video out there. Sadly I don't know. I'm gonna have
Who
to
made
ask people. Yeah, I don't know
Hmm.
who made it. I'm gonna have to ask people to try to link me it again. But what happened was he zip tied this guy that was sniping his buddies down in this town while they're looting it, and he put a bag over their head, and then they brought him, and the thing is he fucked with the wrong group of people because they're a huge community. They brought him over to this one town. They threw him into this pit with other players that they got, and they ripped him. They were like naked players, and they made him fight to the death. Like, and they would
That's
do
awesome.
this, and after that, they said they would let them go. So they went down there, zip tied them again. And when you think about like, oh, I'm not gonna let this bitch zip tie me, you have people with all guns pointing them at you, and you're in this little pit, and you have nothing besides your bare fist, and you can't fist fight in that game. You can fist fight in H1Z1, but you can't fist fight in DayZ, so you're defenseless. And so what happens is they said they're gonna let you go, so you pretty much have to play along with it. So when they finally let you go, in quotes, what they did was they zip tied this kid, they brought him out, and they laid him down, and they poured bleach down his throat and killed him. Like, that's that game. That's how
That's
fucked up that game
brutal.
can get. Yeah, it's fucked up. And you could break bones, too. So they're, like, now, that's like a newer update. People will literally just smash your leg in that game while they're sniping, and then you're fucked. And what they'll do, they'll bring, like, a horde to you, and you'll just
You're
get
a monster.
destroyed by the horde.
There
So-
are people out there that are monsters, but there's also savants in that game. There are people who help other players.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
there's groups
That's not
out
me,
there
though.
that go out of their way.
I'll
You're
be
just
the
a cruel
motherfucker that'd be pouring bleach down either.
You're
I'm
a
not gonna lie,
man.
I have been fucked with. It's just, I was dealt shit, so I'm gonna deal it back.
I was fitting to say, listen to Chris pass the buck here.
Yo,
He's like, I was Hitler, so I'm gonna turn into Hitler.
There you go.
Yeah, it's a cold world out there in those survival games.
And that's the thing, post-apocalyptic survivals, I feel like, are gonna be the next gen.
Not
I
even
think I can agree with that
post-apocalyptic,
to an
but
extent.
just
I really
any
think it will be,
survival.
though, because it's all about, and like, I mean, this kind of contradicts what I said earlier, but the hardcore survival aspect. But you will have, like, because, like, on Xbox, it's so easy to play with friends and do stuff.
Yeah.
Well, they'll have it so you hop in with, like, your little team, and you all meet up in the game, and then you just start running the server. And that's what will probably start happening. Because, I mean,
Yeah.
there's so many of these games that's just online multiplayer.
Well, it
and
gives
open
power
world
to a
survival.
little kid.
Yeah.
It gives power to a kid.
I can't tell you how many times I've had some little kid yell at me when he has an axe to my face in H1Z1. Like, he's like just screaming at me, and then smoke comes up behind him and just fucking kills him with an arrow right in the back of the head.
Jesus.
I know, it's so
Jesus.
brutal. It's so fucking good though.
That's funny.
Dude, that game sounds so fun. I want to start playing it.
It is. H1Z1 is
Yup.
such an amazing game, man.
Well, do you guys have any like closing thoughts on anything that we talked about?
There is something that I do want to, but it's actually one of your topics.
All right.
It's one of the Bloodborne ones, and I want you to talk about it though, because that's
Oh,
something that
okay.
I
So the
really
article that I read, I don't remember the guy's name, but okay. So Bloodborne is another game that's a spiritual successor to the Souls series, which is Dark Souls 1 and 2 and Demon Souls, which are really hardcore games. And Bloodborne is a hardcore game. It is considered a little bit easier, at least from a lot of the community, but it's still pretty. It's still pretty intense. Someone beat Bloodborne with a Rock Band guitar controller.
Do what?
That's what I was saying. I told him, I was like, that's bullshit.
That is crazy.
Isn't there a
Fucking
video though?
Ridiculous.
Proof it didn't happen.
No,
That's all
it
I
was
got.
reported on IGN. I think there is a
Okay.
video out there somewhere of it, but IGN interviewed the guy, and it's just why? Who would think to put themselves through that kind of pain? And this is
To be
Bloodborne's
on the news, to be
game.
famous. That's why.
I was going to say, anybody will do anything for their 15 minutes.
But to be
And-
honest though, that is something to be. That is, if I did that accomplishment, fuck yeah, I better be on the goddamn news for good.
Yeah,
You know,
I
I
agree.
applaud someone. I applaud that man.
that is
I
some
really do.
serious shit. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I play Dark Souls. It is definitely a challenging game. It's a very
I
fun
would say
game.
more than challenging, but yeah.
It's definitely something that it definitely pushes you to the limit at times. It's
Yeah.
all about figuring out what you were doing wrong And it's all about like punishment reward, like what you guys were saying earlier, even though it's mainly punishment.
We should do Lasso with
Yeah.
Guitar Hero controllers.
Oh, you're talking about Halo?
Yeah.
Yeah, that won't happen. I don't even think I'll be able to control it.
No. Mm. But again, that's just showing that difficulty is kind of a big thing, and people love challenging themselves.
Yep.
Yeah.
People really do. Well, I mean, I'm feeling good about this, guys. So, any closing thoughts?
My big thing is everybody, if y'all did enjoy this, don't forget to sit down and check out everybody else's channels. Well, I think there's only one other channel that's going to be
Yeah.
here, and that'll be mine. But Crunky is going to be making a channel here soon, or
Yep.
that's probably what his thing will be. It'll be Crunky Muffin.
Yep.
So go check out his channel when it is made. Of course, this is a podcast that's going to be coming out every single week. We're going to be filming these all the time.
Yeah.
And throughout the week, too, we're going to be having like little discussions popping up on Mythical Madmen. That's why you guys will see this at. And you guys will see other like news articles and everything. And it'll vary from all of us. It'll probably take a bit for Crunky to put one out. But again, it's just something that we're enjoying. If you guys did enjoy it, don't forget to drop a like and share it, because this is something that we're going to just really work on and really keep putting out. Because we love
And-
doing discussions.
And if you do find this on YouTube, don't forget to headbutt that like button.
I already said that. Way to repeat what the fuck I'm saying.
Yeah. God
Yeah,
damn it,
yeah.
Tom.
God damn.
I just wanted to make sure they
Way to
headbutt it.
fuck
I
up
wanted, I
everything,
wanted some
man.
cracked
But,
computer screens. That's what
All
I
right.
wanted.
All right. Well, remember, people, this podcast was brought to you by the Naked People in Rust.
All dead. They're all gonna
Later.
die from cold, wintry deaths.
Oh no.
Later, guys.
See you guys later. Hope you all have a great day. And if you guys aren't, it's gonna get better. Bye.